Rise and be great, rise and be great is what I say to all my people, ladies, gentlemen, men, women, kings, queens, princes, and princesses, those who striving and thriving, those who are struggling but trying to get up. Rise and be great. So today is the first installment of the podcast, and I'm coming to you with something that's been heavy on my mind, and I believe it'll help many. So, first, I want to formally introduce myself. My name is RJ Long. Business wise, my name is Russell Long. I go by RJ Long, the CEO of Breathing for a Reason Incorporated. With that being said, my mission is to spread love, spread inspiration, lift people up, help people smile, help people dream, help people believe in themselves, and believe in what's the possibilities that can be there for their life, even when it's far away where you could barely see anything and you feeling hopeless. Because me, I've been there. I've been there quite a few times. And with this podcast, not only am I going to give a piece of myself in the hopes of helping and uplifting others, but I'm going to also invite people in so they can share their stories as well, because my story isn't the only story in the world of survival and overcoming things that has come our way. Some came our way based on decision, others came our way just because life dealt us that hand. So, to bring you up to speed with Breathing for a Reason and how it came about. At 13 years old, I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. That's a cancer that attacks the lymph node. If you know about the body, the lymph node is what helps your body fight off diseases, sickness, illness. When the cancer forms in your lymph nodes, it starts to make them fight one another, and your body just starts to deteriorate. I lost 11 pounds in 2 days. I was rushed. I was flown from Memphis, Tennessee, where my mom sent me to live with my aunt and uncle, Les and Russell, which I appreciated. I loved them to death. There, when I arrived there, I already had a lump in my chest. I was going through the stages of puberty, but this lump was outside of the realm of puberty. The tenderness of my nipples went away. The lump stayed and slowly continued to grow. By the time the summer was over, it was me and my siblings all in Memphis for the summer. I was scheduled to stay down there to, have a different setting. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, Brownsville to be exact. My mom, she wanted something different for me, so she sent me there with hopes of me, new environment, new things, and hopefully, keeping me away from trouble. When she arrived, by the time she arrived, I would say I was already feeling really ill, and I'm very spiritual. My grandma, who passed away, my mother's mother passed away, who was very dear and near to all of us. She actually lived with us during the time of her passing. She passed away in 1991. I was diagnosed in 1993 is when I got sick. So I was laying in the bed one day and I was having cold sweats, but I was burning hot. So it was like cold chills, but I was burning hot. Uh, so as I'm laying there, I noticed the bed sheets and everything started to glow gold. And when I looked, it was my grandmother standing at the foot of the bed. She looked at me, she said, "Look, when your mother come, you have to go back to New York. When your mother come, you have to go back to New York." That's all she said. I laid there, didn't say a word, and like that, she was gone. The image of her standing before me was gone. The room went back to the room. When my mom arrived to pick up my siblings, I told her Grandma came to see me and said I gotta go home. I have to go back to New York. My mom immediately, none of us never took planes at this time. She bought us plane tickets back to New York, flew me back to New York. At this time, my mom was working on Rikers Island C-73. She flew us back to New York. We get to New York, she rushed me to Kings County. Kings County did the vitals, checked me, everything. They said what they thought it could be, sent me home. The next day, I was starting to feel worse. She rushed me back to Kings County. The very next day, they compared the vitals from the day before. I had lost 5 pounds. They sent me home. They prescribed other medication. And again, my mom, the next day I woke up. I was spitting up. I threw up blood. She rushed me back to the hospital. Kings County Hospital in Brooklyn, New York. This time they did the vitals, everything. I lost an additional 6 pounds from the day before. Total 11 pounds in 2 days. This is when they knew something was severely wrong. They admitted me into the hospital. From there, I was placed in ICU. They did an emergency operation to remove the lump from my chest. Later, I was told the lump was the size of a Nerf football. And that's when I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I was a child. They transferred me across the street to downstate, SUNY Downstate, which is a hospital slash school for doctors and nurses. Upon transferring me, they had already explained to my mom they think I had 2 months to live. She told me about chemotherapy and everything. And as you can see, I still have long hair to this day. I had long hair back then, and I didn't want to cut my hair, and I didn't want to lose my hair. Part of the chemotherapy and radiation, what they explained was I will lose my hair. I said, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. My mom, being loving and caring and protective, she signed the papers anyway. I went through a lot of medical procedures that most I don't really recall, because it was like things was happening so fast. One day, nurses came in to the room and was talking to me, and then boom, they held me and stuck a needle in my chest. I had no idea that it was a Mediport placed in my chest. I didn't even know. So them sticking a needle in me, I'm like, they're trying to kill me. Why are they trying to stick a needle into my chest? Not realizing they was starting the chemotherapy and the treatments and was sticking it into the Mediport that was on the right side of my body. From there, I spent months in the hospital, most time in the hospital. I would get visits, home visits to go home. But at any little thing, if I felt dizzy, if I felt lightheaded, if I get a scrape, anything, I had to return back. I was in a wheelchair. I was so weak, couldn't even walk. I lost all my hair. And during this time, I was teased in my community. A lot of people shunned me. Oh, that's the cancer boy. That's the cancer boy. Watch out. Don't go near him. You could get cancer. If you touch him, you could get cancer. Even children in my age range who didn't quite understand would ask me the same questions. Could I get cancer if I touched you, if I was near you? And I'm like, no. What hurt the most is the older people who would, point, snicker, laugh that said in my mind, it turned me. It turned me. At the same time, I knew I would live. Prior to all of that, I knew I would live. So my grandmother came to me, and her telling me to go back to New York let me know I was going to live. But when I lived and I survived, it took on something different inside of me. Something really different. And I wanted revenge. I had this chip on my shoulder. I felt anybody who laughed from that point on, who opposed me, deserved whatever came their way, whatever I was able to muster or deliver. Not to dredge up my past, but my past is what forged my future. I went from a playful young kid to a preteen and teen that sought out. It wasn't that I didn't look for trouble, but if it came, I welcomed it with open arms. That experience, just not seeking out counseling, therapy, family, friends, community not understanding cancer and just the effects it have on anybody who goes through it. It put me in a place where I went down a dark path. Really dark path. And that dark path led me to prison. Prison led me to gangs. Gangs led me to more violence. Somewhere along that line, my heart, my mind, my spirit started to tell me, you're breathing for a reason. Why are you doing everything you're doing? Don't let nobody, how they are to you, change who you are. You're here for a reason. You're breathing for a reason. And that's where breathing for a reason came from. During that time of incarceration, I realized I have this gift of writing. The ability to write poetry, books, movie scripts, novels. Like in a week's time, I can form a whole novel without notes. It's God's gift. I reach in the sky and pull beautiful poetry from the air. Never read poetry. Never really read books at that time. And my life began to change. I realized I had purpose. I was here for a reason. And I decided that I needed to tell my story to help other children and people who go through things that's out of their control. And the world can be so cold. The world can change you. And I know it's my mission to let people know that no matter what you go through, don't let the world steal your joy. Don't let the world change you. Fast forward to now. I'm bringing you guys this podcast to bring knowledge and information on many things. I'm a spiritual person, not a religious person. I believe in God. I believe in angels. And a higher power created all of this in existence. So that's who I am. This is me, R.J. Long, breathing for a reason. Going forward, I want to express something to many, right? I have a story. There was two people in a car riding down the road. The driver was speeding. They blasting music, him and his friend having the time of their life. Police trooper pulls up behind him. Whoop, whoop. Pull over. Pulls them over. Police trooper tells the driver, step out the car. Stand back here by the trunk. He searches him for weapons. He has no weapons. Say, stay right there. He go to the passenger seat. Step out the car. He searches the friend for weapons and things. There's no weapons. Tell him, sit on the side of this road. Trooper goes to the driver now. Say, yo, so you like speeding on my roads through my town with disregard for all life. The driver said, no, sir. He said, no, don't no, sir, nothing. He punches him. Starts to beat on the driver. Beats him down to the ground. Kicks him, stomps him, spits on him. Tell him, listen, that's what you get for speeding through my town on my roads. Now sit over there next to your friend. The driver was all beat up, confused, hurt, scared, knowing he's a police, feeling like there wasn't much he could do. He told the passenger, get up, stand over here where your friend, where the driver, the speed racer was just standing. As soon as the passenger stood over there, he punched him, beat him down. Same way he just beat the driver down. He stomped him, kicked him, spit on him. Passenger looked up from the ground and said, why you beating on me? I wasn't speeding. He said, because when you two get back in that car and y'all drive away, you won't be telling your friend what you would have did in this situation if you was him. He looked at the driver and said, now get up, both of y'all. Get in this car. Don't you ever speed through my town on my roads again, or nobody may never find y'all again. And they drove off. They got in the car and drove off. I pray you guys understand that story and tune in. Is the next episode. Next episode gonna be deep. Dream big. Spread love. The breathing for a reason way. We are all breathing for a reason.